Hello, friends. I'm no therapist, but I'm your host, Stephanie Goodman. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and a woman of faith. Often friends ask me how I have a successful marriage while blending families and staying optimistic in life. This podcast features people with real life stories about success in relationships and triumph over trial. Today, I have a special visit with actor and musician Tom Proctor. From his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy to his performances with his Outlaw Country band, Tom relates some of his journey as an entertainer, as well as his passion for suicide prevention. Hello, my friends. Welcome to a new edition of I'm No Therapist, but today I want to take you on a little bit of a journey with me. Sometimes we have the opportunity to stretch outside of our comfort zone and grab the bull by the horns to have a new experience. Well, that's what's happening today. I have the awesome opportunity to be able to share with you and my audience, my new friend, Tom Proctor. Tom, thank you for being a guest on my show, I'm No Therapist, but where we specialize in gathering stories of triumph over trial. I'm excited to be able to dive into some of your own personal stories. You are an actor, a musician, and an advocate for suicide prevention, and I would like to say a true American hero. Thank you for being on here.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know if I'd go down the true American hero story, because I'm a guy who just really has done what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it from the get-go. It's been an amazing journey and everything like that, but all my songs, I follow my heart. They are basically three chords and the truth. Until recently, I didn't even know what chords I was playing, because I'm not a real musician like the guys in my band. And I won the guitar in an arm wrestle about 9 years ago. That's true. And put three chords of that, and we'll have a song. But I was doing an acting role on the television series Nashville, had a recurring role as Wayne, the best sound engineer in Nashville.
Excellent.
And one of their music supervisors heard, I was just playing one of my songs during lunch, Lost in New Orleans. And one of their music supervisors heard it. And she said, "Whose song is that?" And mine. She says, "Registered with BMI." I don't, "What's BMI?" She goes, "You don't know what BMI is?" I said, "Well, I know what a BM is, but you don't want to talk about that." and so she said, "Well, are your songs at least copyrighted? Are they copyrighted?" "No, I don't know what you're talking about." She said, "Well, you're not playing anywhere, are you?" Well, I just about my third trip to Nashville to play on that series. And I said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got a job at this coffee shop." Because in Nashville, I mean, they got guitar pickers in 7-Elevens. It seems like there's a acoustic guitar gig going on everywhere. I was like, "Yeah, I'm playing up here at this coffee shop after we get off work tonight." And she goes, "No." She said, "This is Nashville. They'll steal your songs." And I said, "Yeah, and I'll break their legs." And she goes, "Well, that will get their legs broke, but it won't get you your royalties. Let's show you a better way to do that." And she hooked me up with Michael Whitney and some guys, and then he hooked me up with Billy Mason, the dance hall doctor, Tim McGraw's old band, and Faith Hill got rid of them at the time, and so they were available, and went in and recorded my first album, and entered it in K-Dub Country. And if you remember right, K-Dub Country was one of the bigger country, only the CMA is the only bigger country music awards. And
yeah.
Everybody said I was crazy for entering the album. If you can't enter an album, you haven't been on tour, you haven't done anything. Ain't done. This is $500 to enter the album. I'm entering it. we finished, we came in top 5 in 5 categories. My song In Hollywood won Songwriter of the Year, Best Single of the Year, and Best Radio Play of the Year.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And so that hooked up. We hooked up with a manager that put a band together for me in Los Angeles. We were working with some people that were setting up tours for the farmers market, which it sounds small, but it's not. Those are big tours. And we was going to open for Alison Krauss, Brad Paisley, some of them.
Yeah.
COVID hit.
Right.
And
all about COVID.
Yep. And so me, not being somebody that a little bit of a narcissist, so I'm determined to play anyway and have an audience. I went and got my truck and trailer all wrapped with Tom Proctor band. I mean, it's a giant billboard with my face on the side of it, going down the freeway. And I started just touring around playing parking lots everywhere. I'd do things outside of restaurants, and we got shut down a couple times in California because you can't hold an event even in a parking lot.
Wow.
And then, so one time I was in Walmart parking lot, had a pretty good crowd, selling mercs, doing good. And this cop pulls in, he says, "You can't have an event here." I said, "I'm not having an event here. I'm just playing in the parking lot." "Well, look at all these people." I said, "No, I'm not having an event here. Walmart is having an event here. It's called Black Friday. Walmart's having an event. I'm just playing in the parking lot. Now you tell me if they complained about it and I'll move on." And so I did stuff like that. And then
You're sassy, my friend.
Oh, I have a hard time. I was also, another one thing I did, I was a professional fighter, and I ran a fight gym, cage fights and all that. And I would tell the guys in my gym, guys in the gym, like construction side, a lot of cussing goes on. And I would tell them, I said, and I tell my grandkids, I tell all of them, there's 2 dirty 4-letter words that I do not allow. And that is quit and can't. Now, like the rest of the English language, there's an exception to that rule. If you put the 2 together, you can use it and say, "I can't quit."
Wow.
But outside of that, I don't want to hear those words.
Wow. Who do you think inspired you to hold on to your dreams the way that you do, Tom?
It's going to sound corny, but it was my grandmother more than anybody. My grandmother was a true seer, like a psychic. She talked to dead people, and she could see. That's where I got my coffee habit.
Oh, yeah.
4 years old on, she would read. We remember the old percolator coffee. You had coffee ground. And so she would read my fortune in my coffee grounds.
Oh my goodness. And
she loved to hear me sing and tell stories. And she was dying of cancer. And I would sample, I'd come home from school and she'd say, "What'd you learn today?" And we studied George Washington crossed the Delaware. "What did you do when George Washington crossed the Delaware?" No, Grandma, I wasn't there. I didn't cross the Delaware. George Washington. "Yeah, but what did you do when you crossed the Delaware?" Until I would just make up a story of what I did crossing the Delaware.
Oh.
And
wow, she really fed you creativity and imagination.
Yep.
Which I think is an art that we are losing.
Yeah, I just sold a script that I didn't want to sell, but I was trying to get my money to keep my band going and that, but it was all based on some of the stories and things that I had told my grandmother. And all stuff that I made up. Yeah.
So do you mind if we dive into a little bit of your acting? I'm excited to hear some of the adventures that you've had as an actor. What was it that put a wild hair on you that you decided to dive into acting?
I will tell you, and this is what's funny, is the same thing, the same movie that got Quentin Tarantino to want to do movies.
Yeah. Hey, expel it.
Okay, picture this, small town. We had one drive-in. And, in a small town, and small towns everywhere, and I hope there's a lot of people listening, because my granddaughter's in a small town right now.
I'm from a very small town.
Yeah, she's in Roosevelt, Utah, and people that
Oh,
are in small towns think that town, there's a shield with that town, but there's also, you think there's a limitation because you're in that town.
this is true.
You think I can only go so far in this town. That ain't true. You can go as far as you can see, but you got to see it. And maybe that takes listening with your feet. I don't know. But so I loved martial arts, and I was trained with whoever came into our town and opened up a school for the 6 months that they were going to last before they realized there wasn't a big enough population there to supply a school. And I wound up training with a guy who school shut down and in his backyard and everything like this. When I went and saw Billy Jack and saw that he trained in Hapkido under Bong Su-han, and my teacher trained under a guy who trained under a guy who trained under this other guy who knew a guy who trained under this other guy who trained under Bong Su-han. So our teaching was the same sort of.
Oh, definitely. I can see that.
It's like identical.
It's like being related. I get it.
We're like brothers now. We can do this. And that got me thinking, and it got me more excited about going into my martial arts and everything. I can do this from this town, because that whole movie's in a nothing town.
Yeah.
Just a weird line of thinking.
Well, did we mention where you're from?
I grew up in Pleasant Grove, in Orem, Pleasant Grove area. There's actually a road down. Well, used to be a road down there. I tried to take somebody to Proctor Lane a few months back and I couldn't find it. Well, it was kind of a few months back. It was when my dad was still alive. I lose track of time, but I called my dad. I said, Dad, I can't find Proctor Lane. He says, are you on 1300 West? And I says, yep. He goes, that's it. No.
Oh.
What? And that's where my song "Terry Lee Don't Live Here Anymore" comes from.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
And that's one that we recorded but haven't released yet. But the whole thing is nothing lives there anymore. I referred it to the hot chick in our school that Terry Lee don't live here anymore. But it's really about the land and the culture and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's hard when things change, but we know that has to change, right?
Yep. But so fast forward 35 years, I'm teaching actors in Central Studios in Los Angeles. And I tell them, you've got to see, because that film impacted me so much. I said, you got to see a film called Billy Jack. Have any of you seen Billy Jack? None of them had seen Billy Jack. I said, you have not seen Billy Jack. This is an iconic film. This film is the reason Quentin Tarantino makes films. This film, I just went off on him. Next week, nobody had seen Billy Jack. So I said, okay, your assignment is to see Billy Jack.
Okay.
Don't go see Billy Jack. You will not get up and perform your scene. Period. End of conversation. So they come back, classes meanders in a little bit. And I said, so did you guys see Billy Jack? And I'm expecting to see a lit up face. And they went, yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah. Are you going to tell me that wasn't the greatest movie you ever seen? And they all just looked at each other like, do we tell the king he's not wearing clothes? It was that look. It was that like, somebody's got to have the guts to tell him. So that night, first off, I found out I couldn't find Billy Jack anywhere. It's not in Redbox, not anywhere. Finally found a copy of Billy Jack online, and I watched it. And I went, oh my God, that's a horrible movie. It was badly written, badly acted. It's a bad movie.
Oh, the realities that we have watching things that
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so interesting.
Yeah, it
So
was,
what was your favorite role? What was it that touched your heart so much that you held on to this idea that this is a movie that will change lives?
well, when the first, I started off in Westerns and doing things with some classics and a lot of, um, I would always playing the bad guy,
Mm.
and I mean, let's admit it. I mean, we all be honest with each other. We all got a little bit of a in us. Pardon the language, but that's what my
Not
mom.
me. I'm an angel.
Yeah,
If
you just,
if you know that about me, I'm an
yeah,
angel.
yeah. So we all want to do things that are not politically or socially acceptable.
Okay.
When I found out I got to jump a motorcycle through a window, slam it into a bar, beat three guys up, and not go to jail. Are you kidding? And get paid for it, and they bought lunch. Are you kidding me?
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. It was,
Holy cow.
the very same thing. And then I started getting cast in things that I had trouble with mentally because you have to. I've never bothered acting. I did take formal acting training. I took Meisner, Stanislavski, and Udo Hagen. But most of what I do is I change my own history
Go into
to
that.
towards you're still me under a different circumstance.
Okay.
And sometimes that can mess with you. I've done 3 different rape scenes and a couple of them in slave movies where I'm always the racist white guy in every slave movie and a couple of them one not. And it's a weird because you talk with the actor, with the people you're working with, and it's all fun and games and stuff like that. But then I don't know why, because I'm the brother, 5 sisters, 5 daughters, and a mom. I'm the guy that if you been in more than one fight because somebody was knocking their woman around and thought that was okay.
Oh.
It's one of the reasons I ride with a lot of people. I ride with a lot of 1%ers and couldn't deal with a lot of different clubs and that because they think they own their woman. And if they knock her around, it's their woman and none of your business, but you can't do that in front of me because we will fight. And that's just, kind of the way it is. But so when I would do these scenes, everything would be good. And then for some reason, 2 or 3 days later, I would just nightmares, mass depression.
Wow.
It just.
Do you feel it's because you did something that was against your grain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. I know it's important to tell the stories when you're an actor.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to portray that person, as you said, me, but in different stories and situations. But I have to say that I'm touched that has affected you. And thank you for sharing that with us.
It's like my nephew, my brother was married to a Black woman, and his son's half Black, and he called me up and said, "Uncle Tommy, are you racist?" And I said, "No, why would you say that?" So my friends say you're racist, or you wouldn't be able to play those roles. And I said, "No, that's not true." And he says, "Well, then why do you have that tattoo?" Because in one of the things in Wilson, they put a swastika sticker tattoo on my neck.
Okay.
The white supremacist day. And I said, "Well, Bug," they call him Bug. He says,
Yeah.
"We're going to be at grandma's celebration of life, and come, and you'll see that I don't have any tattoos. And
Oh,
he says, so why do you do that? I said, tell me how you felt about that person, the person I played. He's terrible. I said, he's a terrible person. Yes. And you would not want to be that terrible person. No. And I don't know why you do. I would not want to be that terrible person.
mm,
And that's an injustice that just should never have happened. He goes, yes. And I said, but it did. And unless we tell the story of history, it'll repeat itself.
wow.
So when I go in there and tell that story, I'm going to do the job good, because I'll make sure that's something that don't repeat itself.
Wow, Tom, that is so powerful. So powerful. And the way that you answered probably changed his life.
Well, at least he knows his uncle's not racist.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I would love for you to dive into some of the experiences that you've had as Horus in Guardians of the Galaxy. You got to play along the side at the side of let's see, his name is
Michael Rucker.
Rucker. Thank you for helping me. There's so many notes.
Yeah. Michael is probably one of the more awesome guys in the business.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that have reached now here's another man that makes his living playing bad guys.
Mm,
Though he's a bad guy, and you would think maybe he's a bad guy in real life. And he is the furthest thing from a bad guy I've ever seen.
cool.
We had a lot of fun with him. So we're doing that scene, and you hit, there's the built stage on the sound stages, and then it goes off into the green screen. And he says, well, so you're going to come at me yelling, and he goes, and I'll just stop you right here. And I said, so you will stop me, or do you want me to act like you stopped me? He goes, well, I'll just stop you. I said, I'm trying to clarify, and I clarified with James Gunn too. I said, so you want me to act like he stopped me right here? Because I can do that. And he goes, no, just let me stop you. It'll be more real. Just keep going and I'll stop you.
Okay.
I went, I'm not on the Slim Fast program, right? Hope that's not one of your sponsors. Anyway. And
oh, sorry. We'll edit that out.
We'll bleep that one out. But he says, no, you just come and I'll stop you. I said, all right, good luck with that. And I looked at James Gunn one more time. I said, so I'm going to just keep coming unless he stops me. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, that's correct. All right. Plowed him right off the thing, and it's in the bloopers. If you look up the bloopers from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Right up into the green screen. He goes, you marched me right off the stage. I said, yep, and I'm going to do it again unless you tell me to stop. So
they win. They win. Say win.
Yeah, I'm I told him, I said, you don't have to make it real. I'm really good. I got beat up by Jessica Chastain. I'm good at acting like it's one of the things that I do good. I can sell that you actually stop me, or I cannot be stopped.
So he learned his lesson to play with you, huh?
Yeah. It's been a theme. I've had a similar thing with Woody Harrelson, Bruce Willis, where they thought, Bruce is that guy. His stunt was wrong. He can come in kind of hot. And I said, tell him not to hurt himself. And when he come in to tackle me and everything like this, and he gets up and he starts poking at me, goes, what the hell are you made out of? I said, just a farm boy. Just a farm boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A different kind of
stunt. Do you do your own stunts?
I did not only my own stunts, I did a lot of stunt work.
Oh.
If you go on Tom Proctor's famous air ratchet, I've done the fastest air ratchet ever done. I've done horse rare fall and saddle drag, horse stunts, motorcycle stunts.
Oh
Yeah.
my word.
My stunt resume was at one time longer than my acting resume.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And do you have some battle scars from any of those?
Unfortunately, yes.
What what was one of the hardest battle scar that you had to repair from?
I got this foot got blown off in an air ratchet explosion, and it shattered the bone, blew the foot up this way, and they pulled it back. Had to finish, put the foot back on, and that one still gives me trouble to this day. I have
Mm,
a real expensive laser machine that I use on it.
yeah.
I get every once in a while I get placenta injections in it, and
I've not ever heard of that.
yeah,
Wow.
you'll like when I go do shows now,
Yeah.
everybody thinks, oh wow, he's doing great, but they don't see at the airport. When I'm walking through the airports, I get a wheelchair because if I walk to that airport, I ain't gonna walk across the soundstage.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Wow.
not gonna do things in the television series Nashville. When I walked out of the studio, I was just back from another surgery on it. There's a little wheeled knee thing on my knee. I'm not walking on that foot at all,
Oh
but
my
it looks
goodness.
like I'm walking.
Yeah. Wow. The
And
smoke and mirrors.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And so like when I, most of my management team says, you got to be in cowboy boots. You can't do tennis shoes and everything like that. Well, I know I got about a 2-hour limit in cowboy boots. So I'll put them on just before I go on stage. And that's about it.
So speaking of stage, let's go into the story of your music. Who brought music into your heart?
My grandmother is the main thing that did, because she had cancer, and I would sit there and play this untuned Mickey Mouse guitar, sing off key. And I got this one picture that's near and dear to me. It's me playing the Mickey Mouse guitar, and you can see this glove on the ground behind me. And that glove was so that I could put coal in the coal burning stove, which was the only thing that would keep her warm. And she loved to hear me sing, loved to hear me tell stories. And the combination of the two, and she was a seer. Like I said, she's not a psychic. She wasn't one of these people that did that. She told fortune from the coffee grounds and from a poker deck. She would not use a tarot cards, because she said the tarot cards had to talk, therefore they could lie. Because no matter how you lay a tarot card down, it's going to say something. But the poker deck had the choice to say nothing at all. No reason to lie.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. But she loved to hear me sing, and I made up songs like, I love my grandma and she's gonna get better and live forever. Yippee-ki-yay, that type of thing. And in the cycle of how things work, my granddaughter is also really singing a lot, wanting to play. And I bought her a baby Taylor for her birthday.
Oh,
Went back out there just recently. I was out there with for a show. She's written 32 songs that she strums the guitar to the notes that are not quite right, and written songs that every song is about how much she loves her bumpa.
bumpa.
And we wrote a song together. And when you get the full chords, when she learns the full chords, she will, because I started just writing full chords, and she would gravitate to those notes and fill them in.
Wow.
And, I said, okay. She said, I want to write a song. I said, okay, what do you want to write a song about? How much you love me. I said, you're going to make it in the entertainment business. Because it's got to be all about how much you love me. So it was kind of
Cute.
and I'm not going to preach God to anybody. That's not my intention.
Okay.
But I things I've been through in my past and everything. I went through a lot of my life thinking there probably was no God, and if there was one, he was, pretty pissed off at me, and with good reason. And but since doing the music and stuff, I started out, doing it on the streets and got involved with helping homeless there.
Oh.
And then I had a guy approach me about playing a assisted living facility for veterans.
Oh, yes.
And I started just going and doing acoustic sets at those. And it just fed me. And then I got involved with, and I would see suicides and like that. And I had so much, especially after COVID. It seems like COVID, one of the death count they're not taking into consideration on COVID. COVID is suicides. Our society are huggers. Our society are herd animals.
Yes, it's
and we
very
broke
true.
up the herd and threw them all into isolation. So you got somebody coming back from a military experience or whatever experience, and they're already feeling alone, separated, that type of stuff. And you separate them more. And I found I can put on concerts and raise money for suicide prevention. Found good organizations like Life's Worth Living Foundation.
Right. Thank you for bringing that up.
Life's Worth Living. Let me tell you why I got involved with them. I had several others that as a celebrity, you're always getting approached by nonprofits. But if you go up and look up their admin cost, they're not really nonprofit.
Right.
If I set, like I've just formed a nonprofit as well for this, just so that I can go quicker and not have to, if you look at most nonprofits, their admin is 40+%. That means 40 cents of every dollar you donate is going in their pocket, their cost of operating the admin. So when I got ready to start my own, I've just formed it. It's called Entertainers on a Mission.
Entertainers on a Mission.
And I said, well, how can I do this foundation and not have an admin cost? Somebody's got to run it. Somebody's got to find out whose hand to put those money in. But I didn't want to keep working with, like I'll do things with Life's Worth Living as they get things going. But I'm one, just like I told my manager, and I tell everybody around me, I said, you want to be with my team? Here's what you got to have: running shoes, have them on, and be faster than I am. Because otherwise you ain't going to keep up. So I want to be able to do things. And then I found out you can have a nonprofit organization and you can just raise the money and then hand it to these other organizations that have things set up already.
Yeah.
So that's my game plan. There's a couple of people. There's one people that really goes in big time and it helps the veterans. I found that one time I had a win on a personal level, and I had a veteran that I don't know if we can say this on the show or not, because it's actually not legal, but we kidnapped him.
Okay.
No other terms.
You tell.
And then got him into rehab. When we went to get him into rehab, we found out, holy crap, that's too rich for my pocketbook. On another organization who said, no, he's a vet, we'll take care of it, we'll do this. So they got him going and everything like this. And then he came out, he was having a problem. He kept losing jobs because the bus system and things like that is something he couldn't quite wrap his brain around, or they're really messed up. I don't know which one. And he had a really nice little Honda car that had some motor trouble and everything like that. So I took that car over to a mechanic friend of mine. I said, what would it cost to do this? And we had one friend that had the car, and he was trying to talk me out of a set of jugs for my of an Evo motor, which is the top end of a Harley motor, and they're a little bit rare. So I traded him those for the car, and my other buddy did the mechanic work with just the parts, got it running reliable and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I went, all right, that I can deal with. That's not too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
Now we go back 2 years, talk to this gentleman. And I said, how you doing? He says, good. He said, how's that car running? He said, oh, I traded it in. I got this newer one. And I said, they took that car trade in? I said, it had 150,000 on it when we got it. And then I had to think, well, that's a Honda. They'll trade him in no matter what. He's like, he got $3,000 trade in on it.
Ooh.
Put another $3,000 cash with it, and he's got a nicer, newer car. Having no problem with the job, having no trouble with drugs and anything like that.
Wow.
So I think, all right, I call that a win. That's the type of things I want to be doing.
Absolutely. That is wonderful.
I'm going to show you something here. Now, my little grandson, and what they say is out of the mouths of babes.
Yes.
So he had in his junior high, he had a kid commit suicide.
Oh.
And they told the kids, and him and all his friends goes, who was that? Who's this kid? Who was that? Nobody knew who he was. Then another one, and nobody knew who he was.
Oh dear.
So he came to the conclusion that part of the deal was nobody knew who they were. They were shunned. They were outside. They were all this thing. So he came up with these little wristbands. They're just a purple, which is the color for suicide prevention.
Okay.
And on the outside of it, on one side, it says, you are enough. And the other side says, never alone. And then he said, we stand together. And I can't remember what else was on his, but on mine, I put life's worth living, call 988. Because I've got life's worth living, the suicide hotline on my backdrops, on my posters, on my everything. I've had them on banners, but I know I don't remember the number if it was an emergency. And the fact I came up with a national hotline number that is just 988, 911, 988.
Right. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
It's awesome because it's 3 simple numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the most brilliant thing ever. So several months into doing this thing with this program, and I said, so how's that working? He goes, I don't know if it's working or not, but we got more guys. We got a lot more friends on our, whatever it is they do. They somehow play games on their TVs with somebody else that's in their house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got more people at that, and we got more people at this. We got I got a whole bunch of new friends, because when they see somebody that looks alone, isolated, or scared, they walk up, hand them this wristband, and say, hey, I want you to have this. I just want to be friends. Oh, and here's one for you to give to somebody else.
Wow. That is absolutely powerful. And to be teaching them young to incorporate each other, I can see how that will change
them.
lives.
He taught me. This is what's amazing. The kids today, we think we got to tell them what to do and blah, 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 blah. Nope. Give them the information and they'll make the right decisions.
Right. So where can we get more involved with these, and where can we get these wristbands for our families and friends?
Oh man, I'll send, you can either order them directly for the thing, or I'll gladly send them to you. And all my what I found was cool was right after I felt there was a real success with this, I felt like, yeah, this is something that's working.
Okay.
we go to do a concert, and they had it was a thing where they had wristbands were the things to get in the concert. And I thought, huh, really? We just hand out these dang wristbands at the Tom Proctor concert. We're going to have them at the Covey Center.
That's right.
We're going to have them anywhere. And anybody wants to pop me an email, I'll gladly. I don't have the site where you get them made right now. But if it's a matter of you want 25 of them or so to hand out, pop me and we'll get them to you.
Oh, that's so fantastic. I definitely have some friends that will be reaching out to you for that. What are you going to present to us? So what are we going to see in your concert here in Provo on, let's see, June 27th?
June 24th.
June 24th, Friday, June 24th.
Friday, June 24th.
Yes, at the Covey Center in Provo, Utah.
Yes. What you're going to get is a combination. Our music is outlaw country, original outlaw country music. And the song "In My Loving Arms" is right now, song as I release it. Again, this is where I think God's just decided either God's not mad at me anymore, or he got COVID too and it affected his short-term memory, and so he forgot all what I've done. And because no, seriously, because every song I've released right now has hit number 1 and 2 on the world and charts and Euro charts, and they're and I moved to St. George, Utah, where I thought, oh my gosh, this is just the dumbest thing I could do as far as my music career goes. I won't be able to find a band here. Not only did I find a band here, but I found a band that's better than any band I've ever played with. And they're all old guys that have been doing it for years and years. And it's one of those things where I can literally, I'll see somebody in the audience and know they need this song. They need this. And it won't be a song that's on our song list. And I'll just turn around to my guys and Lane will always go, and he takes one step forward, which means I'm going to stay with you.
Oh, awesome.
Frankie's a freak of nature on drums. He's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
No matter what. I could pull anything out and it's going to be there. And we'll pull that song off. We do
amazing
old familiar stuff. Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings is in there, and my lead guitarist has an amazing voice, and for songs like Amy and Keep Your Hands to Yourself, and so I let him take the spotlight on that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, one veterans concert that I was supposed to do, and I didn't read the new SAG contract. So I go on a movie set, and I think I can fly home on the weekends. So I always only book the band on the weekends.
Okay.
But on this show, they said you can't. It's in your contract. You're stuck here, isolation in the hotel. And I was upset because we're doing a concert for suicide prevention for veterans. My band switched gears, all cover songs, and they still did the show.
Wow.
The Tom Proctor band.
That is quality.
That is
quality.
When they're going to do it, they're going to do it. And
well, and I can see that that's the kind of people that you attract. Yes. And you and I have a couple of friends that are in common. Gary Robbins.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Robinson, excuse me. Gary Robinson. My husband and I ran the LDS Film Festival for a couple of years, and he would bring a bunch of talent our way. He's always been just a dear friend of ours, pure-hearted, good guy. And he is absolutely elated to be managing you. How do you know Gary Robinson?
Okay, well,
Goodness, I know his name.
apparently we grew up in the same area a little bit, and then he knew my stepbrother Joe Adams, and he had several people, including John Gossett at the foundation, always telling him, "You need to hook up with Tom Proctor. You need to hook up with Tom Proctor." And I was going through crazy, stupid management things and everything like that, and we'd had shows. Anyway, just timing got right, and he knew me through Joe and all that stuff, and he talked to me about some of these things, and you did the LDS Film Festival. Mountain of the Lord was one of the first SAG films that I did, and I was, I think, the only one on that show without a temple recommend. And but I will tell you another thing that COVID showed me. And again, I'm going to avoid preaching because I got no right to.
Just share.
But God don't really care if you got a temple recommend. My wife's son-in-law, he's like a bishop or whatever the thing is, high in the Mormon church here, and we almost lost me. I had pneumonia from COVID, blood in my lungs, everything like this, and he came and gave me a blessing. Again, not preaching. Don't let anybody think I'm saying I got a right to anything, because I'm not an example you want to follow when it comes to religion. But I only know what I know.
Right.
And I know I wouldn't be here right now if it hadn't been for that. I'm not taking anything away from medical and science and that. But you're looking at a man that's been dead twice, shot 3 times, and stabbed twice. So I know what brings me home when it brings me home.
Yeah. I understand that. Thank you for sharing that with us. You look at the different parts that you've had, and you talked a little bit about some of those parts. You would think you're a rough, tough, scary kind of guy, but Nate Osmond says,
"Oh no, he ratted me out."
He says that you're just a teddy bear, and I think I absolutely agree. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you and to hear your stories. Where can my audience reach out to you best?
On the very best is to just go to tomproctorband.com.
Excellent.
Subscribe to the email there. It is Tom Proctor Band on all social media. There's a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything like that. And I am going to learn how to answer those. I got a guy that does those for me, but Gary pointed out to me, he says, "You got a lot of people making comments and you're not answering." I said, "Where are they at? Where's?" Because I am a person that I am a people person. I like people. I love the small room concerts more than the big concerts where the first roll's 30 feet out. And it's going to be an interesting show up there, because there's people that I've mentioned by name in these songs, and everybody's always told me, "Well, you're back in Utah now, you might want to change those names."
Oh.
And now what's really funny is a lot of those people are going to be at that concert.
It's all right. Put it out there.
And they'll probably do just like my gal did. I 2 shots of whiskey. It talks about it says, "You had 2 shots of whiskey and that black dress that on my best guess was 2 sizes too small." And she, of course, went off on me. She goes, "It was not 2 sizes too small. It fit perfect." And I said, "Okay, darling, let me put it to you this way. Tell me how to make a country song out of 2 shots of wheatgrass and this dress that fit really perfect and made her look beautiful.
Well, I can sing those kind of songs.
It don't work.
All right. All right. Well, Tom, thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm excited for my audience to get to know you and to share this episode with them. And I definitely invite anyone to come to your concert. I know that you're a storyteller. I'm excited to hear the stories that you tell in your music, and you have a good heart. Thank you for sharing it with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you having me here.
If you've enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe, share, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Please comment, because I would love to hear about what you think and what you want to see in the future. I'm no therapist, but I am your host, Stephanie Goodman.